How are you guys doing today? My name is Apple Crider and I make daily personal finance, entrepreneurship, and credit card related videos here on YouTube aimed at high school and college students. And today what I wanted to do is talk about credit inquiries because it seems like there's some, I want to say, misinformation going around out there about what a credit inquiry actually does to your report. And a lot of people are doing these things like paying people to remove their credit inquiries, asking me if that's a smart thing they should be doing, asking me if I know how to remove inquiries from their report. And it's just some misconceptions here that I sort of wanted to clear up in a video. So that's what we're doing today. So first of all, if you're not actually familiar with what a credit inquiry actually is, basically, when you apply for a new line of credit, say a mortgage or a credit card or an auto loan or a business loan, what the credit issuer is going to do is they're going to run an inquiry on your credit report. Now, what this means is essentially they're just looking through your report. They're getting a copy of it. They're seeing, okay, what's on here? Is this look like this is the person that we want to lend money to or not? How much interest do we think we should be charging them on this? And that's sort of what their risk assessment department is doing with that inquiry that they run. So a hard inquiry is run every time you apply for a new line of credit, okay? And there are also some other scenarios where it might come into play as well. And stuff like if you want to apply for a credit limit increase, this might apply, or other scenarios like that. But whether or not you get approved for this line of credit, a credit inquiry will be run. Okay, guys, so keep that in mind. Now, a lot of people are out there, they're trying to improve their credit score, right? Like as we're all trying to do, we're all trying to have a good credit score. And a lot of people see that credit inquiries is sort of like a quick fix way that they can get their credit score improved, because some of the other categories, like your payment history, your average age of accounts, your total number of accounts, some of these take a while to improve, especially your average age of accounts. You can't just magically boost that up unless you're going to go out there and buy some primary trade lines, which I totally don't recommend whatsoever. I think that is definitely another quick fix, to this problem that won't really work. So credit inquiries seem to be the first place that people tend to head when they're looking to find a quick fix to improve their credit score. And a lot of questions that I get are along the lines of, hey, should I pay this person to remove my credit inquiry? Should I write a letter to Equifax or whoever to take these inquiries off my reports? And the thing about this is, okay, guys, we're gonna get into how much a credit inquiry affects your report, and that's very significant. But the thing about this is you can't just remove a credit inquiry from your report like for no reason, just because you don't want it there. Like, that's not how these things work, okay? So you can remove a credit inquiry from your report if it's not supposed to be there, okay? So if your credit accidentally got ran twice, maybe, or it accidentally got ran for something that you didn't apply for, you can get that removed. You can write them a letter, you can go online, there's ways to get that removed. But if it's an inquiry that's some credit that you applied for that you're now trying to remove, that's not how it works, okay? So you can't just get an inquiry removed because you no longer want it there, okay? It needs to be an inquiry that isn't supposed to be there, okay? So that's the first thing. I just want to preface it with that. And then a couple things that I want to say before we actually get into this. There's three things that I sort of want to preface this discussion with, and I have I'm going to show you guys my credit scores and I actually have a really good example of how just the difference of one inquiry affects your scores over time, because I have two different credit scores, from two different bureaus. That they're the exact same information, except one has one more inquiry than the other. So it's a really valuable way to look at this, but there are some things that I want to say before we actually look at those numbers, okay? So the first of which is it's going to be different for everybody, okay? So not everybody is going to be affected the same way by a credit inquiry. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, it depends on all the other factors of your credit score, okay? So depending on how long you've been building credit, depending on how many different lines of credit you have, depending on all of the other factors that go into your credit score, credit inquiries may impact you a little bit more or a little bit less, really on the basis of maybe like 3 points up or down, really, maybe 3 to 5, but not very significantly, okay? So this will fluctuate a little bit. It's not gonna be one exact answer for everybody, but the realm that we're in is going to be pretty consistent for everybody. It's not gonna fluctuate by like 20, 30, 40 points per inquiry. No, not at all. Second thing I wanna say is the numbers that I'm going to be showing you are from Credit Karma. So before you hop down in the comments below and dislike this video to death, I just want to say this is the easiest way for me to show you guys an example of this. I know Credit Karma is not your exact credit scores. I know there are estimations, but this is just a good, it's the best way that I can really show this to you guys without going into like my bank this website and showing all my personal information. Like, this is just the easiest way to do it. So we're gonna use Credit Karma today. I hope this doesn't make you too irate. Last one. So we're gonna be comparing two different types of scores, like I said, from two different bureaus. Okay, we're gonna be looking at my TransUnion and my Equifax score. So the reason that we're doing this again is because one has they're the exact same information, but one has one more inquiry than the other. So that's why we're doing that. And I know the formula might be slightly different for each of these guys, but overall, I just want to share with you guys my scores and how one inquiry can really impact you. Because the thing is that the reason that I want to make this video, among people asking me if they should remove their credit inquiries, is because when people apply for new lines of credit, so for me personally, I applied for both of these new credit cards. Let me show you them without showing you my credit card information. So the Chase Freedom and the Chase Freedom Unlimited. Okay, guys, I applied for both of these cards. As we'll see on my report, beginning of July, either end of June, beginning of July, something like that. And my scores dropped very significantly. And this is something that happens to everybody, okay? When you apply for new lines of credit, your scores are going to drop. And if you're early in the game like me, I mean, these were only my third and fourth credit card. So I'm early in the game and I applied for 2 new lines of credit and my credit score dropped very significantly. Now, a lot of people are gonna see that and they're going to think that it's because of your credit inquiries. But what I wanted to do in this video is prove to you guys and just really show you guys that that's not actually the case. And there is a different factor that's really coming into play here that people are not taking into consideration. They're blaming it all on the credit inquiries when in reality, that is not what they should be doing, okay? So without further ado, I'm just gonna hop on over to my Credit Karma and show you guys what we have going on over there, okay guys? So here we are on my Credit Karma. And as you can see, we've got 2 scores here. So they are, I'm just gonna preface this by saying they're a little bit low right now, just because when I applied for those, as you can see down here, this is where I applied for the 2 new lines of credit. We were up here before, then we dropped down here, and now we're picking it back up a little bit. But as you can see, these 2 scores are very, very similar. Now you might think that's because they have the exact same information. Well, it's actually not. So if we hop over into TransUnion, where we have the slightly higher score, we're going to go down here, and we're going to see that we have 0% utilization ratio, which is not quite accurate, but I do pay my cards off early, so that's where that comes from. 100% payment history, which is because I don't pay anything late. Average age of accounts is 7 months. Total accounts is 5. I have a student loan as well, so that's the 5th account in there, in addition to my 4 credit cards. And then we have 3 hard inquiries, okay? So that's the inquiries that we talked about before that people are trying to remove from their report because they think it's very influential on their score, when in reality, this might not be the case, okay? So that was TransUnion. Now we're gonna head back over to here, and look at Equifax, okay? So if we go into Equifax, we are going to see, again, 0% utilization, 100% payment history, 0 derogatory marks, 7 months average age, 5 total accounts, and 4 hard inquiries, okay, guys? So the thing here, I have the exact same information on both of these reports, okay? Everything has been reported equally. We can go into these if you want, but I don't think that's very necessary. But the key thing is on Equifax, I believe that's who we're on. Yeah, Equifax, we've got 4 hard inquiries, and then on TransUnion, we have 3 hard inquiries, okay? So if we go to this graph right here, we're going to see my score over time, okay? And this has always been the case. I have always had 1 more hard inquiry on Equifax than I have on TransUnion. And if we go into Equifax, let's go into TransUnion, Equifax first, we're gonna go in here and look at my hard inquiries just to show you guys where they're from, so that we know why they're there. So Chase Bank, this is my most recent one from June 5th. That's when I got these 2 new cards. This one on February 19th is when I decided to see if I could get pre-qualified for a mortgage at 19 years old. Not quite sure why I decided to do that, but we just wanted to see if it would work. Surprise, I did not pre-qualify for a mortgage at the age of 19 with not that much income coming in. So that was a shocker. This inquiry is from when I tried to get approved for the Amazon Prime Visa signature card. I made a whole video on that. It's the most popular video on my channel, so you can check that out if you want to. And then this one is when I got my very first credit card all the way back in May 22nd of 2017, okay? So those are the 4 inquiries on here. If we hop over to TransUnion really quick, we can see that I only have 3. And these are actually, it's weird which ones show up on which report, but this one is when I got my Fidelity Visa signature card, which is right here. So when I got this card, that inquiry was ran. This one was when I got my very first credit card. And this must have, oh, this is Credco. Okay, so this is the one for the mortgage, okay? So the Chase cards did not show up, neither the Amazon one or these 2 ones did not show up on my TransUnion. So I've always had 3 hard inquiries on here. and I've always had 4 hard inquiries. Or I've always had at least one more hard inquiry on here. So that's awesome. Now I want to show you guys the graph. So this graph right here is very significant, and it's because it has, so I keep saying this, but I've always had one more hard inquiry with Equifax. So the Equifax score is the one that is slightly below this one, slightly below the TransUnion. TransUnion is the brighter yellow, the Equifax is the lighter yellow, okay? So as you can see, these guys track each other very nicely, except one is slightly lower. So we start off here at 717, okay? So 717 is the TransUnion, Equifax, 713, okay? So here we're 4 points lower. So this one hard inquiry is influencing me 4 points lower, okay? So next we're gonna come over here and we're at 684. TransUnion, we are at 688, okay? So again, still exactly 4 points lower. Only difference is one additional hard inquiry and whatever the scoring formula is for Equifax versus TransUnion might be a point or two difference there. Okay, so now we hop down here, we're at 680, Equifax 676. Again, still exactly 4 points lower. Here, 693, 693, 696, 697. So again, 3 to 4 points difference. And then right now we're sitting at a 697, 694. So as you can see, the only difference between both of these scores is that in one, I have an additional hard inquiry, and they've been tracking each other exactly the same. It's 3 to 4 points, guys. It's not what people are putting it as. People are thinking that their hard inquiries are influencing their score by 10, 15, 20 points, when in reality, this just is not the case at all. The real reason, see, as you can see, when I got these two new credit cards, my score dropped very significantly, okay? You can see that. But the thing is, it had nothing to do with my hard inquiries because, well, it might have had something to do, but very little, because if you'll remember, my TransUnion score, okay? My TransUnion score had no additional hard inquiry when I got both of these new cards. Remember that? No additional hard inquiry when I applied for both of these two new cards, okay? On the TransUnion. But the score still went from 717 to 780, okay? So as you can see, we lost about 40 points, and there was no additional hard inquiry ran. On Equifax, there was an additional hard inquiry ran, and we went from 713 to 776 or 676. So again, we lost about 40 points both ways. One had an additional hard inquiry, one did not. So this really just goes to show that the hard inquiries have a very, very negligible impact on your credit score. I mean, maybe if you had like 10 of them, it might be significant, but these things do fall off after 2 years, okay? So 2 years after my first hard inquiry, so we'll just go over here, we'll look at, I think it was May 22nd. So next May, when next May rolls around, this first hard inquiry that I had from US Bank, May 22nd of 2019 is when this is going to fall off, okay? Yeah, so hard inquiries from things like credit applications can stay on your report for up to 2 years, but their effects tend to fade over time. Perfect. So within 2 years, so within May 22nd coming up, this will have fallen off of my report completely. And when that happens, odds are it's not going to impact my score very much. So even if I were to go on and pay some like hacker pro to go in and remove these 30 things, like it's not going to affect my score that much, guys. So the thing that does affect your score, because as you can see, my score clearly was affected. I fell about 40 points when I got these two new cards. The thing that made that happen, if we go into the criteria here, it was not, in fact, the hard inquiries, because there wasn't even one. It was the average age of accounts, guys, okay? So it was the average age of accounts. So my average age of accounts before getting these two new cards was sitting somewhere between I think about 9 months, okay? So we had, before getting these two ones that are a month old, we had this guy who was a year and 2 months old, this guy who was 10 months old, and this guy who was 4 months old, okay? Average those out, you get about 9, okay? So we were sitting at about 9 before, and then when I got these two new cards, my average age of accounts dipped to about 5, okay? So it was sitting at about 5. So it pretty much fell in half, nearly cut in half was my average age of accounts. And that is the reason why my score fell about 40, I think, about 40 points, okay? So that's the key takeaway here, guys. It is all about your average age of accounts, and it is not about your credit inquiries. They have an impact, they have a very negligible impact on your credit score, okay, guys? So you really do have to keep in mind that paying somebody way too much money to get those things removed, because it's not gonna have an impact at all, barely, on your credit score, is not a very, in my opinion, it's just not a smart thing to do, okay? It's just not a smart thing to pay somebody to do this for you, or to even do it in the first place, to spend the time writing a letter to Equifax or whoever you need to write a letter to get this removed. Like, in my opinion, that's just a waste of time. And what you need to be focusing on when you want to build credit is getting the key factors up, guys. So if we go back, we're going to go back over here. The key factors, okay, your credit utilization, of course, you need to keep that low. You need to keep that, if you want the best impact, it needs to be below 10%, okay? Payment history, that's gotta be 100%, guys. If it's not 100%, you're gonna have a very hard time getting your credit score over anything like a 700. I mean, right now I'm not one to talk because my credit score is below 700, but that's gonna rise as my credit cards get older, because as you can see, I'm using them responsibly. And I just really need to wait for them to age and to get more essentially over time. So you just got to build up that base of no annual fee credit cards, and we'll be well on our way to a nice credit score. But okay, so yeah, focus on these two, especially derogatory marks. Like, don't go into default on any of your debts. That's a very bad thing that's going to stick with you for a long time. But it comes down in the early game. Like, if you're in high school, if you're in college, it's a waiting game, guys. You have to wait for your average age of accounts to improve, because it's not going to start to positively impact you until your average age of accounts is sitting at like 7 or 8 years, okay? So as you can see right now, I'm sitting at 7 months. I've only been building credit for what? Like a year and a quarter. So not very long at all. But the thing is, I'm getting these cards early on. All 4 of these cards are annual fee cards. They're going to age with me as I go. So you fast forward to when I'm like, I don't know, 27, and I'm gonna be up here, guys. So when I'm 27, I'm gonna be up here locked down. I don't have to worry about the new cards that I apply for, because I'm gonna have this solid base of cards down here that will have aged with me over time, so that I'm not gonna have to worry about my credit score falling. I'm gonna have a very, very secure credit score as I get older. And then as far as total accounts go, again, you have to build up that solid base, because it's not gonna start to positively impact you until you've got 11 or more accounts. So that's just the basic stuff, guys. And the credit inquiries are a very, very negligible part of your credit score. Don't pay somebody to remove them for you. That's just it's not worth your time. It's not worth your money. And even if they do get it removed, like, that's not even, it's not going to impact you in a positive way that much. And you're not even really like supposed to do that, because you're only supposed to remove credit inquiries that aren't supposed to be there. So trying to remove ones that are there rightfully is it's just not a smart move, in my opinion. And just don't get caught up on credit inquiries so much, guys. They really don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things as far as building credit goes. Like, there's more important things to worry about, like actually using your credit cards responsibly, not paying interest, and just building up that solid base of cards early on. Because if you can get all that stuff down, the credit inquiries really, really won't matter that much. As you can see, for me, they're impacting me like 3 or 4 points. So it's just not something worth worrying about. And that's sort of why I wanted to make this video, to just sort of show you guys that people are getting caught up on the unimportant stuff, and what you need to be focusing on is building those good habits and just overall using your credit cards in a responsible way, because that's really what it's all about, guys. I mean, the points and the travel and the rewards and stuff, that's like icing on the cake, but what it really comes down to is you need to be building credit early on, because the average American pays about $280,000 worth of interest throughout their lives. And if you can start to build credit early on, you can really drastically reduce that number down to something a lot more reasonable, in my opinion. I think $280,000 worth of interest is kind of crazy for the average American to be paying. So build credit early on and get that credit score so you can get the lowest interest rates possible on your auto loans, on your mortgages, on your business loans. Everything just gets easier when you have a solid base of credit and a solid credit score. Anyways, guys, that was the video. I'm sorry if I rushed through things a bit. If I missed anything that you wanted me to cover more deeply, definitely let me know in the comments below. And let me know if you've had any experience with trying to remove inquiries from your report or anything along those lines, because I'm very interested to hear from you guys as well as far as those things go. Just because I've never done it myself, because I don't think it's worth it, but I do get a lot of people asking me like if it's worth it or like if they should be doing it. So I want to just make this video to basically address that question once and for all, because in my opinion, that's just not a smart way to go. But guys, I make daily personal finance, entrepreneurship, credit card related videos, all that good stuff here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram over at Apple Creator. I got a podcast called Young Smart Money over on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to find that. So that's my shameless plug for the day. I also have a free online course on investing your first $100 as a high school or college student. That's applecreator.com/course. I'm done shamelessly plugging myself. I will see you guys tomorrow. And